Hello and welcome back. This is just going to be a very quick review of the new Transformers 1 movie. My cousin and I finally saw it this past weekend. The weekend before, if you remember, I was sick for 4 days. I lost 2 days of work. It was rough. I couldn't stand without being. I couldn't walk. It was nuts, and then the people I went to called me up. Oh, you're anemic. You think? Um, then they were telling me to take all this stuff that my doctor normally tells me to take. So, but anyway, Transformers 1. It was a really good movie. We were both shocked. We went in kind of, I won't say, sorry, that we were cautiously optimistic about it. Optimistic, that's a good word too. Uh, but we really enjoyed it. The story was tight. It was mainstream. Tons of, we got the four main characters. You see them in the trailer. Everything that's in the trailer happens in the movie. The first trailer wasn't very good. The second trailer was a little longer, and I'm like, this could be pretty good. The Quintessons are very alien. Very alien, and I loved that. I like how organic they went with the Quintessons. I had to get up and use the restroom at one point, so I missed a very key fight near the end, and I'm like, oh man, and my cousin was having to fill me in. But a lot happens. There's a very good adventure aspect to this movie while being very sci-fi at its core, because that's what Transformers is at its core. Very much science fiction. And because it is Transformers, everything is changing. I almost said the word fluid. I do not like the word fluid. Everything is always in flux. Everything is always changing. Everything is more than it is. The planet, the characters, everything around them. It is so cool. It's so transformative that by the end, everything has changed from the very beginning on various levels. It is so cool. I will admit, it took a while to get used to the voice acting for the characters, and I kept thinking in my head some of the original voice actors, and even then some of Megatron's lines, even if Frank Welker had, say, or D16 or whoever, which is a really cool throwback in reference to Megatron's Takara number for the original Destron, is that some of those lines I could not hear Frank Welker actually deliver. They were almost un-Megatron-like. And I think that was a good thing in a way. And near the end, he himself had also changed, again, almost multiple times. Just such a good movie. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to go see it before it is out of the theater. Because it's only like its second weekend, and already it's only showing in one house or one theater. It's not showing in multiple theaters because it didn't do as well as they expected in the first weekend. And since this was its second weekend, there weren't many other people in there. I was hoping it would be more than just my cousin and I, and there were. There were a little more than a handful of other people with us, and there were some kids there too. And the kids laughed at certain points. My cousin and I were laughing at some points, and you're going to notice straight off. Okay, I may spoil one little nugget here. is in the very beginning you see Primus. They go with that mythos here. And it doesn't seem connected to anything. It doesn't even seem connected to the live action movies. It doesn't seem connected to TF Animated, TF Prime, even though you're going to hear a lot of musical cues from TF Prime, because I think it's the same guy that did the music. You're going to see a lot of cues from G1, but this isn't yet G1 because it's not that story. It doesn't seem to follow any origin story as far as we know. It made a whole lot of sense. It was a very well made story that makes sense, that is very satisfying at the end, even though you kind of know what's going to happen at the end already if you're a Transformers fan and you're familiar with the IP. I'm sorry. It is a foggy day. The weather here in Alabama has just gotten my sinuses just all out of whack. And I apologize. I'm more snorty than normal. But great movie. If you haven't seen it, I suggest it. I had something I was going to say and I forgot what it was. But it was just, that's right. The mythos, because in the very beginning you see Primus. And that's how they start the whole movie out. So this isn't really much of a spoiler. But the silly thing of it was, it looks like you're looking at the Primus figure from like 18 years ago from Energon. And I'm thinking, really? I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. And then it does turn into Cybertron. Okay? Into spoiler right there. Even though it's not much of one. But you're going to see a ton of other characters. They have a race. I was seeing Technobots. And they do use the name Afterburner, not Afterbreaker, as we've seen in Earth Wars or Power of the Primes. Afterburner is back. But, you see the name, and I think you see the character in the race also. And I'm like, cool, Technobots. And I saw Strafe, and I kept calling him Scattershot, but it was Strafe. I saw Strafe, and very early on, blink and you miss it. Orion Pax is falling through the sky near the beginning of the movie. Depth Charge from Beast Wars rams into him. So take a note of that. That's pretty cool. Depth Charge shows up. You're going to see a lot of characters that are all over the place, but a lot of them are mostly G1 related. And there was in one big scene at one point, the third half of the last third of the movie, and you see all these heads and bodies, and again, everything's changing. Forms are changing, characters are changing, attitudes are changing, personalities are changing, and Optimus Prime gets his name for a reason, which is just also fitting and very cool, and just as we always kind of thought and played around with even in the 80s. I gotta wrap this up, but just a really, really good movie. Especially if you're a big Transformers fan, if you're a big G1 fan, you're going to like the tributes here. You're going to like the tributes. That's where I was going with. I saw even Detritus. And I'm like, wait, that's a hound head, but it's tan. That's Detritus. Cool. And I wouldn't have known about Detritus without this card game. Because I remember the Wreck and Rule guys they were pronouncing the name wrong. And they were playing a game and going over stuff. And they were like, and one of the guys was saying it wrong, and the other one, Joe's like, no, I think it's Detritus. So it's like, oh, okay. And I have that card, I think, but neither here nor there. I'm talking about the Transformers 1 movie, not the TCG. Dead TCG. But if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. We'll see you next time. Rating, at 1 out of 10, I'd probably give this a 9. It was done very well. The music was very subdued. It helped add to the scenes and the action. Well, at the same, I gotta go. And at the same time, it was not in the way. And there weren't any really pop music until the credits. It was a song, it's like, I can do without. It's not bad. But you're going to hear a lot of neat little lines and tributes from all sorts of places, especially G1, the 86 movie. I really think you're going to, if you're a Transformers fan at all, whether you think you're a G1 purist or not, you are probably going to really enjoy this movie. It is not a live-action Bay movie. There's nothing really lewd. There's some cursing. Elita 1 curses some, and you have Radicatron, which is hilarious, actually. And they never call him Bumblebee. He's still just B123, which is kind of a throwback to the Michael Bay origin of Bumblebee, I guess, where but at least he's talking. Yay. Just a fun adventure romp, and you kind of see things, well, change and transform. Everything's in flux. You never know what's going to happen next and how they're going to get where they're trying to get to and what they're trying to find. And there is one point where Orion Pax looks in this a bot, and he goes, it's like the Matrix, it's gone. And you almost expect it to have a beat and hear someone else saying, with it all hope. Of course, that's not there. But I was expecting that from another character. I'm like, darn, not quite the same context there, but just a good movie. Just a great movie. 12 minutes, we'll call it that. Out of 1 out of 10, I'd give this I'll give it an 8.5. I'll give this a movie an 8.5. It's up there with the 86 movie. It really is. It surpasses all the Bay movies. This is probably my second favorite Transformer movie of all time. It was. I want to go see it again if I had the time. If my son would go with me, and if movies weren't so expensive right now, I'd love to go see it again. It was just that enjoyable. It was a good movie. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. All about the characters. No people. The Quintessons are just... Oh, wow. I can't... I don't know if this is going to make money for them to finish. And I think it's supposed to be a trilogy, but it may not happen if they don't get enough money for this one. That's why I'm doing this video and say, go see that movie. Go see Transformers 1, because you not just want to, but you need to. And on that note, I understand Hasbro is dropping the Star Wars franchise of figures. Thanks to Disney. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. And as always, Autobots, transform and roll out. Can't you say that just a little louder?